Hello everyone and welcome to week 8 of English 120. So, sorry that this lecture is a little bit late today. Usually I get it to you by 8 a.m. in the morning, but there was a delay this week. So this week what we're going to be working on is developing a thesis statement for our research paper, and I'll go into much more detail about that in our lecture. We will pick up with Whose Names Are Unknown, chapters 6 through 10, and we'll be going over that in our live English 95 session on Monday at 6 p.m. And I will post the assignment on those chapters after the meeting. You want to read 2 chapters from the Bedford Researcher. Chapter 9 is avoiding plagiarism. So your entire online unit will be on avoiding plagiarism, but you really want to pay attention to sections 9A, 9C, and 9E. And then you're going to read also the Bedford Researcher, chapter 12, but specifically pages 195 to 203. That is about how to write a thesis statement. So you want to read that after you watch this lecture as a way to learn more about the thesis statement. After you complete your online research unit, take the quiz on plagiarism. Don't forget, though, to work in your research groups this week. I will be assigning a grade for your first few weeks of your research group, so don't forget it and make up any work that you haven't done yet. I'll go over the tasks that you have in that group later in this lecture. And then finally, after doing all this work this week, you're just going to turn in one sentence. That will be your thesis statement, and that'll be due on Thursday at 11:59 p.m. So just a review that we are in week 8, and we are now working on our thesis statement. So you're basically taking your research question and it's going to evolve into a thesis statement. And that thesis statement is going to help guide you create an outline beginning next week. After we have that outline, we're going to actually start writing the paper. So make sure you spend time developing the best possible research, your best possible thesis. So let's talk about how to do so. The most important part of your research paper is your thesis statement. So what is a thesis? Basically, a thesis is a roadmap. It sets the reader's expectations for the essay, what the essay is going to be about. It really sets up the primary argument that you're going to be making in the essay, and it usually answers a question, which is the prompt that you were given for your research project. A strong thesis is going to do 3 things. It's going to answer a question with a claim that needs to be proven, okay? It's going to tell the audience what to expect in the rest of your essay going forward, and it's going to be very specific. So here's the actual definition of what a thesis statement is. A thesis statement introduces the topic you will be writing about and communicates to the reader your purpose for writing about it. So a thesis is just part of your writing process, right? Up to this point, we've basically been exploring ideas, reviewing. We drafted a research question and used that as a way to analyze sources. You created an annotated bibliography where you looked at those sources to see what kind of conversation they were having about your topic. So now, based on that initial research, you're going to draft a working thesis that'll be basically based on the research question you developed already. The next stage is going to be drafting. So you're going to revise your thesis to be more specific, right? As you move forward with your outline and then drafting your actual paragraphs. And then as you're reviewing and revising those paragraphs, you're going to test and revise your thesis against the evidence that you have provided in your essay. And then you'll edit and finalize your draft. And with that, you will also go about finalizing your thesis. So how do you write an effective thesis? The first stage is you're going to develop a working thesis. You're going to think about your personal connection to the topic, right? What interests you about it? What point do you want to make? What is the most important thing to tell your audience? And then once you have something to say about your topic, you want to develop a working thesis. Now, many of you have already developed a research question. So you already know kind of the importance of this topic to you. You know kind of the main point you want to make. And you know that kind of what's important to your audience, right? Hopefully by this time. So you want to I want you to do an assessment. You're going to be doing this in your research groups this week as to what you know about your topic so far. And then what do you need to find out still? Okay. Then you're going to find out, can I write a sentence that describes my topic and gives a comment on it? If I can, maybe I have a working thesis, okay? Like something that's going to answer that research question, okay? You're going to test that sentence and make sure you're not just stating the facts, right? Because you don't want to just state a fact. It needs to be something that you have to argue to prove, right? This is an argumentative research paper. See if it will grab your audience's attention, right? If not, you don't have a working thesis yet. And then you want to make sure that you can cover this topic in the 8 to 10 page research paper that you're going to be writing for this class. So here's an example. Say your prompt was to write a 3 to 4 page paper where you argue whether or not you think employers should monitor their employees' online activities in the workplace. So for your pre-writing, you might think about employers monitoring employees' online activities. What do I most want to know about this topic? Do I think they should or shouldn't monitor? Why? So you're going to think about all those things, and then you'll develop a working thesis. Employers should not monitor their employees' online activities because electronic surveillance can compromise workers' privacy. So once you have kind of a working thesis like that, then you need to revise your thesis. And this is what we're going to be doing this week as we move forward in writing that one perfect thesis, okay, that you're going to be turning in at the end of the week. So there's several things you can do to find out if your thesis is focused and narrow enough. Can you prove your thesis in the pages assigned? Is your thesis interesting to your audience? Is it specific enough? Is it manageable? Then you're going to assess it based on that. So here's an example. Theories about global warming are being debated around the world. That's a working thesis, okay? Now this topic, right, is interesting, right? But it seems to have no real comment on it. Like we don't really know what these theories are and who's debating them, right? The thesis is also not specific, right? So who's debating these theories? What is that issue with the debate? And then the thesis is not manageable. It would require a lot of research on global warming in so many countries, the way it's written, okay? So as an assessment, the thesis can be narrowed by the addition of a stronger comment and a sharper focus. So here's a revised version. Working independently, scientists from several countries have now confirmed that global warming is demonstrably caused by humans. So in this thesis, we are more specific because it is a scientist, right, that have from several countries. So you could even get more specific and name those countries, right? This is something that's making a statement about something that can be proven with evidence, okay? So if we work from that original working thesis we had, so employers should not monitor their employees' online activities because electronic surveillance can compromise workers' privacy. The final revised thesis could be, although companies often have legitimate concerns that lead them to monitor employees' internet usage, from expensive security breaches to reduced productivity, right? So we have that conditional phrase, right? Although there's concerns, right, and we name what they are, the benefits of electronic surveillance are outweighed by its cost to employees' privacy and autonomy. So we have a very clear, focused statement that is arguing that it's not a good idea to monitor. Sorry, my voice is gone because of the smoke. To monitor your employees' internet usage. Okay, so let's go back and review this one more time. Okay, a thesis statement introduces the topic that you're going to be writing about, and it communicates to the reader your purpose for writing about it. It's a roadmap to your paper. It sets the reader's expectations for the essay, what the essay is going to be about, and it sets up the primary argument or claim that you're going to make and prove in the essay. It also answers a question, usually given to you as a prompt, so the prompt that I gave you, and relates back to the prompt, and it's focused and specific. Just a reminder, you're going to be writing a thesis statement this week. You are going to be writing a thesis statement about your research topic, not about these little imaginary assignments I gave you in this lecture, okay? So please make sure this is going to be the answer to your research question, basically, okay? and it's due on Thursday at 11:59 p.m. Make sure you read Chapter 12 in the Bedford Researcher, pages 195 to 203, before you begin writing your thesis statement. You also want to complete your group work before you do that. So don't forget to complete this important work, the research groups. Remember, you click on the People tab, and your research groups are the second tab in there. You're going to be receiving a grade this week on how well you're participating in your research group. And it's really important that you do this. It's like if we were in a classroom and I were breaking you up into small groups. That's what this is. Please make sure you can make those spaces whatever you want to so they can best serve you and your friends that you're working on, you and the people in your group working on this topic, okay? So many of you, though, are not interacting enough with your research group. So please note that you are going to lose 10 points per week if you do not interact with your research group. Remember, if you're having issues with this, you don't understand how to do it, I am just an email away. You need to send me an email. So this week, you're going to update the sources on your page group to include all of the sources you've found so far. There should be at least 6 sources for each of you in your group, if not more. This is not just your annotated sources. This is everything you've found, and the reason why you're doing that is so that you can all share them, okay? Your assignment this week, in addition to making sure that's up to date, is in the discussion forum. So each of you will post your own post by Saturday at 11:59 p.m. and you're going to answer these questions about your research topic. What do I already know about the issue? What don't I know? What do I want to know? And what new keywords could I search under to find more sources? Your post is due at 11:59 p.m. on Saturday, and your responses to your peers' posts are due on Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. Finally, we're going to go back to whose names are unknown. We're going to read chapters 6 through 10 and then talk about them in our live session on Monday at 6 p.m. Remember, the login is always the same as my office hours. I use the same Zoom link for everything. So go ahead and log in at 6 p.m. on Monday night, okay? Finally, I just want to say, if you did all this, you did a good job, okay? We don't have a ton of work to do this week, but we're all moving forward in our research on this path, a steady path to writing a solid research paper. Next week, you're going to use the thesis statement that you developed this week and all the research that you've been doing to help you develop the subtopics that you're going to be diving into in order to create the body paragraphs use evidence to support your writing of the body paragraphs of your paper. Next week, we'll also continue to do group work in our research groups, and you're going to be reading further into whose names are unknown. What you learned this week, you're going to understand plagiarism and how to avoid it. You're going to learn what a thesis statement is, and you're going to learn how to draft one. And then you're going to collaborate with your group about research materials for your research project. And then you'll continue to critically read and understand the novel we're reading for this class. Here is a recap of everything that's due. Once again, I am just an email away, and I'm sorry that I am a bit delayed on grading papers. It's just been a crazy 2 weeks, and I will catch up this weekend. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Stay safe. I know it's been a little crazy out there, but thinking of you all, and I'm just an email away if you have some questions. Otherwise, I will see you guys online.